Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode, a fresh episode straight out of the internet kitchen. Well, I guess unless you're watching this on YouTube, in which case this episode may be thousands of years old.
So, lightly used.
Welcome.
Hello, folks from the year 3077.
That's right.
Leftovers.
Welcome, viewers from the distant future. I didn't have time to reach for my Echoplex on that one, but hi, welcome. Hello, everybody.
2000.
If somebody's watching this in the year 2000, I don't know what is wrong with your timeline, but things are messed up here. So, but in 2 years, you're going to get liquid swords. So watch out for that. That's going to be good for you. Before we start the episode today, can we talk about ska for a minute?
Yes.
Can we talk about ska for a hot second?
I'm sure, yeah.
So yesterday night, I started on a long and exciting musical journey because somebody shared with me through the various social media channels a YouTube channel called the Skatoon Network.
I'm there already. Okay.
Yep. Which is this dude who he has a Patreon and he makes like ska cover songs as part of his Patreon. And this video that I saw was the Mighty Mighty Boss Tone song, The Impression That I Get, which is a classic, classic ska revival song, but it changes genres every 15 seconds. So it's the song, but it's in a bunch of different styles. And in the middle of it, he does 15 seconds of Midwest emo, which listening to that, I was like, oh my God, I haven't listened to Braid in forever. And then I stayed up way too late listening to old music from when I was a teenager. And so now I'm a little sleepy as a result of falling down a very deep nostalgia hole. And I blame ska, which I think is fair. I think you can blame ska for a lot of things.
Ska is a gateway to Midwest emo. Like the first concert I ever went to was Real Big Fish, and I skanked a lot. Guys, yeah. I skanked a lot. And then, it led to bad things like American football, like Owen, all the Kinsellas. But yeah, no, that's really cool, actually. Ska is like, so it's ska for me is almost like a Pepsi or a Coke. It's just something I would drink regularly when I was a kid, but now it's just like a little too sweet. Like I'm just like, I'll take a little bit of your Coke right now, but like I'm not gonna finish this album. That's ska music. So if you're a ska band right now, don't write me.
I feel right. So there you go. That's little known fact. Jace Beleren Must Die. Big overlap with the 2019 ska band community. We're really popular among ska artists.
Thriving on SoundCloud.
I always like though about ska. I think it's a necessity if you're gonna start a ska band that the name of your band is like a corny pun with the word ska in it somewhere. Like there's so many of them. And I thought the Skatoon Network was pretty cute.
Skatoon Network is pretty good.
Their logo, his logo is quite good. Yeah.
I feel like also like, because I'm a little bit younger than you guys, I had the opposite move where I went through Midwest emo and then eventually back to ska in like high school, because I think that's just what was playing on like the radio. It was like trending at the time. And I also like, I see how one led to one another, specifically like Midwestern emo, because like clearly ska was band kids, right? Who wanted to start a band, but weren't who didn't want to be like edgy enough to be like punk or other thing like that. Well, there's ska music. Like, Barry can only play the trombone.
Right. It's band kids. Yeah. That learned like brass instruments and then wanted to be in a band that wasn't like playing marching music. Yeah.
Also skanking is a very white dance. Like that.
Really.
See, that sounded white, but I didn't want to say anything.
No, please, yeah.
It's like it's the 1980s version of the Charleston. I would describe it as.
Well, so the thing about ska is like watching, like if you know anything about it and its roots, and then looking at the 90s revival of it and how all of the bands when ska like came back, which whatever, they're all white dudes, all of them. Like Goldfinger, I think is the pinnacle of that. Like,
I loved Goldfinger.
Right, a lot of people did.
I loved Goldfinger.
They're the Macklemore of ska.
Yeah.
that was the time. That was how things were. Yeah.
I had a really big Sublime phase, which is
me
technically
too.
ska. Yeah, and like, man,
I had 4 Sublime shirts in high school.
oh yeah,
4.
just one for me. Just why? How were they all the same? Like
No,
waterprint? Like, did you get them at
No.
concerts, or just were they being sold at Kohl's? Like, what happened?
they were being sold at like a disc replay and like a Spencer's Gifts or something like that. I
Nice.
remember them all though. Sublime.
See,
40
when
Ounces of
I
Freedom was a good album.
when I grew up, ska was like it was just the edge of acceptable because I hung out with like metalheads mostly, and so Sublime was too far. It was one
Yeah.
toke over the line, and we were just like, no, that's not metal enough. We're gonna go over here and play Dungeons and Dragons and secretly listen to hot water music and not tell anybody about our feelings.
Yeah, I remember that time. It was like ska. The thing about like ska was it wasn't the local band you came to see, but they were opening for the local band you came to see.
Mhm.
And the great thing about skanking or just dancing to ska music in general is you're gonna do it right. Like, like there are no rules. It's like fucking Thunderdome in there, right? It's like, you go to one ska show and people are dancing and you're like, this is how you skank. And then you go to another ska show and it's like, oh, I guess this is how you skank. But like, yeah, it's all the same.
I've really been enjoying TK and Katie's face during this whole.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
I was like, the skank was just something I was called in high school.
Yeah, no, it has a different meaning in this
different meaning.
context.
Yeah, great.
But
I was
was a
telling
sense of
chat, like,
I'm literally watching a YouTube video on this skanking.
Of course,
That way-
TK doing the research.
What the suburbanites call it, I guess. I don't like. I am in that weird middle ground of like not 40 and not 20.
Mhm, yeah,
Like,
same.
what the fuck are you talking about? Like, these are all made up things to me. I'm just like, oh.
I don't want to call anybody out or anything, but I feel like if we were to look at Greg Tito's high school yearbooks, I bet you there's a picture of Greg Tito
Yeah,
in a ska band. That's just, he seems like, Greg, you seem like the kind of guy.
100%.
Were you in a ska band when you were younger, Greg Tito?
People,
Greg, we
people
need
want
to
to
know.
know on this
People
channel.
need to know these things, Greg Tito.
You do need to know. That's just you're
Let us
naming off
send it to
bands,
Greg.
and I'm like,
Greg, we need answers.
these sound made up. Even in like the 90s and early 2000s when there was like this resurgence and stuff, I feel like I still don't know which bands are ska and which bands aren't ska. I'm just like,
I you know, honestly
What
though,
is
a lot of bands, that's the part of the debate, right? Like,
okay,
Yeah.
are you a punk band that happens to have a saxophone in one song? Nope, you're a ska band now. Suck it. That's how it goes.
I don't.
Our cred.
For me,
Yeah,
I differentiate if the guitar is playing on the ands, like and.
So it's on the upbeat.
That's
Yeah.
a ska. Yeah,
Well, it
that's a
sounds.
ska.
Yeah, I mean,
What
if the bands sound like they accidentally misinterpreted reggae as a punk song, they're probably a ska band. If you
Yes.
listen to actually the Police, if you listen to a lot of their early stuff, they sound like a ska band because of the vocals. Like, it sounds like Sting is like kind of trying to do like a patois, and you're like, Sting, dude, like,
Stay in your lane.
stay in your lane,
Okay.
Sting. He was very
Where
bad
the
at that.
conversation goes on.
What is ska?
So ska it's basically punk music with brass instruments in it that's played on like upbeat notes. It's pretty lively often in the time. The easiest way to actually identify between a punk band and a ska band is going to a Vans Warped Tour and seeing how many fedoras were in the audience.
Is everything black and white checkers? Probably a ska event.
Can you just give me an example of a song?
Yeah, will you send us the most popular ska song? Like, because the more you
Well-
Could you actually send me a copy of a song that is a ska sellout,
Mhm.
so that like
Oh,
not-
there's the song "Sell Out" by Real Big Fish.
There you
Sell
go.
out.
Yeah.
So the most popular ska song of like actual ska is probably "A Message to You, Rudy," but that's by an actual ska band with black people in it.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
Yeah, right, 'cause it's like
Yeah,
that's actually the
Yeah.
ska that most people think of is the one I mentioned before, the impression that I get by the Mighty
Yeah.
Boss Tones. That's like That's ska. There's yeah. I don't want to listen to any of these, but ska, reggae, and dub all kind of exist on a spectrum. But ska gets confused because there was a like second wave of it where it kind of came back with a different group of people who came from pop punk. So it's yeah,
that's a good way to explain it. It's like pop punk that didn't want to be called pop punk. It wanted to be called something else.
Pop punk that hates its dad, I guess, or hates its dad.
No, pop. See, the thing is, ska loves everybody. They're just there to have a fun time and play their trumpets.
Okay, so it's like pop punk that like thanked its dad for letting them practice in the garage.
Yeah.
I was like, thanks for buying me these instruments. I appreciate you, Dad.
Pop punk for band kids. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
that's still
they're not hurting anyone. They're just having a good time.
Band kids are the worst.
they're only culturally appropriating like a little bit, just a little, just a little off the top.
By themselves alone in their basement, so we're gonna let them have it.
I don't feel qualified to give ska a pass or not. So Katie, what have you been up to? How you doing? You going to Gen Con, I heard?
Yeah, I'm going to Gen Con. I'm just thinking like I'm trying to find like a touch point. The only thing I got in my head is like Paramore. Like that's
that was a sound, Carlos.
I mean, Riot's good. Like I like Riot, but like that's not ska. That's yeah,
like
we're not going back to this.
We're playing
yeah,
role-playing games.
That's as edgy
with
as
children.
my little middle school heart got. I'm not.
You never got into like My Chemical Romance? No. Wow.
No, but I hung out with the edgy kids. My best friend wore a dog collar.
I don't want to spend money on people just being sad or angry. Like, I'd do that for free.
I'll give them all my money. I don't care. They can have it all.
I was really into Missy Elliott, though. Is this relevant? No. Okay.
She's timeless.
Yeah, Missy Elliott is always relevant, so it doesn't matter what we're talking about. You can be like, but wait, can we talk about Missy Elliott for a second? Yes. In retrospect, Missy Elliott much better than all ska forever. So that's an easy. I can make that claim, no problem. I feel comfortable with that.
That's fair.
Yeah, so that's what's been on my mind for the last little while, since last night and then this morning. I cannot get that song out of my head, so I'm glad to have something else to occupy my brain besides humming trumpet lines to myself while I'm brushing my teeth. But yeah, if you're interested in any of this BS that we were just talking about, go check out this dude's videos. They're pretty good.
So this guy sponsored you, Adam? What was it?
No,
how much money did?
It's just this. Well, it's funny because it's like those. I don't know if you've seen these kinds of videos. We see them every once in a while where it's like a multi instrumentalist or someone who's like obviously musically inclined in a bunch of different ways will do a song in a bunch of genres, or we'll give you like an example of like metal vocals from 17 different subgenres. But this dude it's the same song but in a bunch of different styles, and it's funny watching the ones that he's more proficient in and being like, you were in a power violence band. I can tell. I can hear it. These are practiced vocals. I know it. And I don't know. I love that stuff because I have no musical talent at all. Yeah.
What was the name of the guy that did it?
The channel's the Skatoon.
Oh, Skatoon Network. Yeah, he's like one of the first ones that show up.
Yeah, there you go. When you look for ska on YouTube.
I just looked up the impression that I get ska on Google, and it was like, but I mean, Google's listening to me right now.
Yes,
so.
that's true. That's true. The machine learning has been listening to our conversations.
FBI agent in my computer, please tell me what ska is. Email to me.
If I start getting ska recommendations, I'd be so mad.
Yeah, I'm really sorry to everybody who's listening to this at home who's like, I just tuned in for some like D&D and now I'm getting all of these ska recommendations and no, I don't want to buy this Goldfinger t-shirt. Get out of here, eBay.
Well, I mean, if they're listening on YouTube, then our hero in the comments has already forwarded them to
That's true. Yeah, I'm sure someone has already told me in several ways I am wrong about ska, but that's okay. Ska. If that's what being wrong is like, I'm okay with it. I'm good.
Yeah, no, it was really strange when you said that Missy Elliott was ska. I think a lot of people are going to have a hard time.
I never said such a thing. How dare you? How dare you
Adam did
drag
say
my reputation?
Fight about it. Come on, let's fight. I'm ready.
It's an indefensible position. I refuse.
Someone's leaving this crying, and it's not me. So let's fight. Let's do it. See me at PAX West.
I refuse to take that indefensible position. That's like saying Capadonna is the best member of the Wu-Tang Clan. It's just not realistic. You can't debate that. It's just not possible.
Of course.
Just let it go.
How dare.
So I'm trying to tell the internet that I have wrong opinions about things. They believe that enough as it is.
I'm gonna tweet it out. I'll be right back.
I like this guy's video. He's so talented.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
He's just like rocking out in his room. He does a Studio Ghibli version of
His
There's a
the
Studio Ghibli version in
his
there?
synth
Isn't that
his
big?
synth pop bit reminded me that
was-
freeze pop was a thing. So I went back and listened to a bunch of freeze pop songs, which I hadn't done
I don't
since
even know.
like
That sounds
2001.
made up too.
They're
never
a
heard
synth pop band. I think 2 of the 3 of them worked for Harmonix, so a bunch of their songs are in Guitar Hero.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Oh, is Freeze Pop the name of the band?
Yes, freeze pop is the name.
Oh, okay. I thought it was another genre. I was
No.
just like, what? What does that mean?
I'm gonna come to
I'm
the
so
next. I'm gonna come to the
scared.
next episode with a list of like 4 or 5 like really like strange, obscure subgenres of music,
Oh
and
my
just be
god! Like it's like playing that like 3 truths and a lie.
You're right,
One
exactly.
of these genres is made up.
Yo, you guys like vaporwave?
Oh, I do like vapor. I was just
I
talking
do
about
like
vaporwave.
vaporwave, actually. I use vaporwave in
Wait, while
RAM.
we're at it, can we make that
yeah.
shit?
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
when
the thing-
I'm,
I can
outlining
get on.
names,
I know that.
when
You
I'm
can
doing-
tell-
Yeah.
You can tell a band is a vaporwave band because they have a distorted picture of a Simpsons character or a statue from a museum or like a
Palm
palm tree or all 3 of those things on their YouTube video background and like a VHS tape effect. Good. And
I
that's
don't know what vaporwave is, guys. Am I not cool?
Can we make What's a Maid Cafe t-shirt? That's what I
that's true. I forgot about that.
Oh, or I've never seen Pokemon. What's Team Rocket?
What's a
I-
maid
I saw the movie and I saw both of the movies. So
Team
I saw
Rocket was in the movie.
what?
Was Team Rocket not in the movie?
No.
Really?
There's no Team Rocket, and
You're a liar.
we're talking about the same movie, right? There are a lot of Pokemon movies.
Yeah.
I think no. I think
What-
Meowth doesn't Meowth meet his like clone
Yeah.
in the first movie. Are you talking about Pokemon?
I think we're talking about the. Are we talking about the
Detective
Ryan
Pikachu.
Reynolds Pokemon movie?
Detective Pikachu.
Yeah.
I saw
So-
I saw that one and I saw the one where spoiler alert, Pikachu dies and then the other
Oh, Mewtwo.
Yeah.
is
And
bring him
that- no, I-
back.
I
It was
think-
so sad.
Yeah. We all
That's all
cried.
I know about Pokemon.
Pokemon. It's very sad. Yeah.
It seems
Oh,
sad.
no, they are in that. They're just they're not the bad guys. They're just random side characters. That's
There
fine.
you go. There you go.
Since Mewtwo's the bad guy. Bad
Well-
guy? Question mark?
So here you go. This is the thing to take away from this. For next episode, go home and think about what Pokemon would be in a ska band, and if you had a Pokemon themed ska band,
Yeah.
what would it be called?
Let's see if someone answered that on the internet before.
Let me just Google that. for you.
Pokemon.
I don't know. Judging just from this conversation, which is all I know about ska, that and it was mentioned briefly on Shaun of the Dead. So good for killing zombies with records. I don't know.
Oh, Scott
all
2
of the
Network did
trash
Pokemon.
all of the Pokemon that are shaped like trash.
Hmm.
There you go. Yep. I'm
I
pretty
feel
sure
like I'm
there's
in
like
a
a trumpet
nightmare.
Pokemon. I feel like
Where
you
a
are.
bunch of men were like, hey, you want to come be on my ska podcast? We have irreparable blackmail on you.
Poskamon. Almost.
Hey Katie, I'm having a really good time playing D&D with you on Jace Beleren. Me and Carlos are starting this podcast. You want to be on it? We're going to talk about music. This is the ska episode. They're all ska episodes, so
I hope you like ska because
that's actually the name of the podcast. I hope you like ska. Oh boy. Well,
there is a Pokemon ska band. It's called Pokemon Liberation Army. So it already
Wow.
Wow.
I need to be drinking. It's 11:30.
That sounds like a parody band. Like
It's a real band. They don't give anyone a band camp, guys.
You can't just sign
no,
up
I mean
for
that
one.
sounds like a band that's parodying ska music.
And to counter your point about naming the band Scamander, I think Scamander is already a Harry Potter themed ska band. So
Back
yeah.
in drawing board chat.
so
Yeah.
keep working on it.
I do like your
We're gonna-
Scaramouche.
together, chat.
Last name, right?
reference.
Oh
We're gonna
boy.
come back from break, and I'm just gonna have a wine glass in my hand.
I hope so. I hope so. If we can't drive you to drinking, then what is the
Yeah.
point?
I
This is what we
definitely
do.
have a
This is what we
migraine.
do with
Wait, just have a Heineken with no alcohol. You know?
Yeah.
Let's bring it back.
Thanks. Today's sponsors Heineken, no alcohol.
this is what we do with the time that Wizards of the Coast gives us to do this show. Thank you for tolerating this 27
Yes, thank you
minutes
so
of
much. Yeah.
ska
You know, they
horse
watch
shit.
this in the office too. So.
Yeah, yeah. I still,
This
Greg
is-
Tito. I want to see those pictures of you and your ska band that I know exists.
Drinking
Send them to me.
alcoholless Heineken.
All right,
Flavor, vodka flavor Red Bull.
all right. Let's play some Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Yes,
mean,
we
if you
are still
must.
talking about ska. It's fine. We're allowed. Okay, so I believe that you were in trouble. I believe there was some danger going on. At least half of you, at least, were in a dangerous situation. Torgor and I believe Tack were at brunch still, and it was Rode and Winnegar that had gone down onto the street. So up here in this beautiful second story open patio brunch restaurant in precinct 1 of the 10th district, we overlook a relatively, by Ravnican standards, a relatively nice day. There is some sun, only partial cloud. It's not pouring rain, and it is a nice morning for brunch, except that the company maybe isn't so good. So we see the two of you, Tack and Torgor, at the table, empty mimosa glasses littering the tablecloth, only because Tack drinks too fast for the waiter to be able to come and take the glasses away.
100% true.
And I imagine Tack is the kind of person who would growl at you if you tried to take the empty glass away because maybe there's still some pulp in the bottom. Maybe you can still get at it.
First of all, don't call me or Tack out on the internet in the year of our Lord and Savior Beyonce.
So are you done with that glass, or no? I'm gonna eat it. Get out of here.
I think that if Tack's drunk enough too, they will make like a show of force and bite one of the glasses.
What?
What?
Yeah.
You can. Have you ever done that in front of Rode? I need to
What?
know. Have you ever bit a glass?
No, Tack's belligerent but not dumb.
All right, great.
These are like delicate Silesian flower shaped glass, like champagne flutes. You could do them in one bite, no problem, Tack.
Oh,
They're like
hell
candy.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
So the two of you are sitting there, Torgor, ash drifting from your cigarette into your eggs Benedict or whatever they call them in Ravnica, and across from you, we get a review of the last scene that we saw before the end of the last episode. A waiter comes in leading Dovin Ban, Triska, and Ironclad to a table. They look tense. Triska maybe more than the other two, and they head over to a table and they sit and they get some water. Big ups to chat for both Eggs Beleren and TK Eggs Benedict, both very very nice. Thank you.
Very good. Very
Very
good.
nice.
Proud
Good
of us,
puns.
that's it.
Very proud of those. But maybe Torgor, I know you're an insightful Minotaur. Do you want to try to get a read on these three as they come in? You think you'd be paying enough attention to that?
Most definitely, because I have not been drinking. Just very hyped up on whatever Ravnica's version of nicotine is.
Yes, I think probably it's just nicotine. Yeah, I think probably there would be tobacco farms. Though if you're getting your tobacco from the Simic, it's probably like weird underwater kelp stuff. But yeah, I think probably it's the same, more or less the same thing. Okay. But yeah, go ahead and make an insight check, and we'll see if you can kind of read the room.
Let's go -2.
12's still pretty good.
Well,
Yeah, 12's still pretty good with a -2.
better than the -1.
Yes. Yeah. It is always nice when that second die that you don't need is like, you can just push it aside.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So this to me looks like, and you can kind of like draw your own parallels in Torgor's life, but this looks like someone who is being brought to, Triska looks like a person who is being brought to a public location to be told something bad, under the hopes they won't make a big deal out of it because they're in public. There are a few other people at other tables kind of scattered across the balcony. They look like across the patio, and they look over. They notice. It's hard not to notice Dove and Van, especially, but they don't know really the other two. And there is a level of tense civility. They're too far away for you to understand or hear anything that they're saying. There's a lot of like kind of low conversation going on at various tables around you, and they're sat far enough away you can't quite make out what they're saying. But Triska looks nervous. She has picked up on the situation. She knows that she's being brought here for some kind of bad news or something. But they haven't got to it yet. They're still in the preamble.
Okay.
Yeah, she's probably gonna get hit with it like around when the food arrives.
So I look over at Tack, and
Yes.
I like take down a note, and I tell them, Toror is giving you instructions. You will lead the murder clowns. You move when you think is right. And like I hand them the note, which basically tells our exact location and like to get here as soon as possible. I'd be like, just go, like take care of it. And after doing that, I start walking towards that table.
Okay, so
Wait.
Torgor, wanted Minotaur, infamous criminal, is going to get up and just walk over to the table where Dove and Ban and Zlatek Ironclad and Rhodes' sister Triska, who will remind you is responsible for catching Torgor. So you just stand up and begin walking towards the table. TK, do you want to? Does Tack do anything?
Tack doesn't know what's going on, but does know they are now in charge of some murder clowns.
Right, that's the important part you took away.
Tack's gonna do that super fun slither underneath the table and like leave the area, like just like slips under the table, just like
Okay.
and then is going to dine and dash and leave.
All right, let's have you make a stealth roll to escape.
All right, I get +8 to stealth, so
You're
we'll see
very
how this
stealthy.
goes. I got an 11.
Oh dear.
It's not a good day, and I'm
Wow.
drunk.
Good. Okay, let's blame that. What do you think the perception roll of like an average waiter is? Probably slightly higher than average. You have to be able to like notice things. Maybe like a +2. That seems fair. Let's see if you get.
Yeah, super fair. And you said it's not very busy in here.
It's not super busy, but there's a focus, right? Like you know that the manager was like, we have a very special important guest coming in. We're not closing the patio, but like make sure that Adjutant Ban and his guests are tended to.
Yeah, that's true. So we'll see, how it goes. Whether or not
It goes great.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
time to notice an incredibly drunk.
Yeah. So how do you? I'll let you narrate this because normally Tack is very slippery in this way. This is a Tack situation. What happens? How do you get caught? Like, what is it that leads you to this bad place?
Like I slid and I hid underneath the one table, and it was cool because that was my table and there was nobody there. But then, like, I went to another table and there were some people there. And then I was like, maybe I shouldn't be under this table. And I went to this other table and like,
But that was my table.
You got lost.
it was my table, but then this other table had a lady at it and she was screaming. And then I took a knife and I don't know. So now I just got this knife and I still got some mimosas. So
I love that in the background of Torgor's like serious march towards Dovenban, in the background, blurry, we see Tack like on a table holding a bottle of champagne and a knife and pointing it at people like, get away from me. So there's like 3 waiters trying to talk you down. There's like a woman holding like a poodle, and she's like screaming, and but none of this is enough to draw our attention away from Torgor. It's just that Tack, you cannot get out of this situation. You are stuck here right now.
Going very poorly.
You are trapped in the background, out of focus. Okay, so Torgor, you get up and you start walking towards the table. Do you want, like, are you approaching from a particular angle? Dovin and Zlatek are sitting on kind of one, it's a round table, but they're kind of making a triangle, and Dovin and Zlatek are both looking at Triska. So you could approach so that only one of them sees you if you want.
I would like Triska to see me and not Dovin Ban or what's it called? Zlatek.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So, and I want to just like, Torgor just walks straight up and goes, "Oh, Officer Triska, I just went by your office to come in for questioning because Rode mentioned that you wanted to talk to me, but Torgor didn't see you there. So I caught you on the way out. I saw you walking over. Is this a good time?"
So as you walk up and you're saying this, Triska's face, like her eyes go wide, and she's like the thing that I was looking for just fell in my lap, right? So she's there's disbelief there for a second, and then she stands up and immediately goes into like arresting police officer mode, right? Where she like draws a wand and like points it at you and starts giving you the like, you're under arrest by order of the Azoria Senate. Put your hands up, and she comes over. Dovin basically like floats, he like levitates away from the table. His chair tips over. Zlatek turns around with his surprise. He's like holding a tea and kind of like turns around and like big wide eyes. Things have suddenly escalated. And in the background, we see Tack like kick a waiter in the face, and and she comes over and basically goes to put like handcuffs on you, Torgor.
Whoa. Can we have a conversation first? Like, come on. I don't feel like handcuffs are necessary right away.
So she snarls and
I came politely.
She says, anything you have to say, you can say at the precinct, Rakdos. And she like grabs one of your arms, twists it behind your back.
Okay. While doing this, I start, now I'm upset. And so I like fake act. Like, what is going, like drawing attention away from Tack. Like, oh my God, what? This is what you get. The Azoria Senate's supposed to be peaceful, law-abiding, arresting an innocent Minotaur who's done nothing wrong. Get your drones out.
Because you're around Dovin, there are ornithopters. This is being recorded from several different angles. I envision Dovin Ban a bit like Wallace from the Blade Runner sequel, in that he's just kind of like weird and neutral, and he's always surrounded by these like floating orbs, and he has a very kind of inhuman effect. I mean, he's not human, he's a Vidalcan, but like there's something off about him. And I think when all of this happens, he stands up and kind of like floats back from the table, and he looks at Ironclad, and he just says, "This conversation is going to have to wait until later," and then he disappears. He just vanishes. Ironclad like doesn't have any idea what to do. He's just kind of like shocked right now. And yeah, you are currently being arrested, unless you would like to make this scene into something else.
I don't want to resist arrest too much. Like, I wanted to make it seem like Triska is there, and so I might even like lean and whisper in your ear, like, "Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere." And then I'd be like, "Oh my goodness, like, what is this? Like, this is ridiculous." Like,
I find that really helps when you're being arrested, to just lean into the cops and be like, "Don't worry, I'm just making a scene for show. I'm doing it for the gram."
I got to, like, Rakdos right.
I'm gonna do it for the gram, man. So,
and then I'm like, like typical Azorius arresting a Rakdos for doing nothing but existing, and like.
Okay, so what is the intent behind this performance? What do you want to accomplish?
I want Tack to be able to get away.
You want to give Tack another chance?
Right. And then that way have them, so once I'm in custody, ideally, or like in the process of being in custody, the murder clowns come. And either way, the chaos. Both of us.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Can I make a performance?
Absolutely. That was what I was going to call for. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see how it goes. Oh boy, it's the performance of your life.
Oh,
that is the best you could possibly. So you have total control over the narrative of this.
Okay.
Yes.
Of this, you are the ringmaster of this brunch patio. All eyes on you.
So after whispering this to Triska, Torgor, like obviously doesn't ever like yerk out of her control. Like her hands are on my wrists, which aren't moving, but it's like my legs that are kicking out. Like I'm making like a movement with my horns, like just like really doing like, Ravnica's had systematic oppression against all the other guilds except for the Azorius, which just happens to have white mana. All right. That happened like this whole time.
Oh my god!
Torgor's first album is going to be called "Fear of a Black Mana," and I'm about it.
I was thinking, white mana's burden.
Yes.
I'd love that. And like everyone is kind of like mesmerized at a moment because for whatever reason, people have just accepted that this is what it is. It's like, oh, I guess there have been systems in place that have allowed for certain things to, I guess, wow. I mean, I could see how certain people, when given less advantages, would choose to.
I love that, like, in this moment, that is true because you crit, right? And you're getting everybody to think a little bit differently about the situation, and it's making Azorius look bad. It's all being observed by these drones, but like it's very easy to forget that the Rakdos, like it's not like they're like nice people or anything. No. Not like organ harvesting murder clowns, but that's fine. In this moment, you are in control. You have played the situation. I think that Ironclad seeing the PR shift makes himself scarce. He's like, I don't want to be a part of this. He probably he covers his face and he gets out of there. He's just like, you're in charge, Triska, and he leaves. And you are, you're completely in charge of that narrative, which Tack. All of a sudden, the woman and her poodle and the waiters that were trying to get you down from the table, you're like standing on somebody's toast. No one's paying attention to you anymore. Something more interesting is happening.
Cool. I'm gonna first of all take the toast.
Yeah, that's fine.
Second of all, I'm just gonna out of there.
Yeah. Now, how do you want to get out? Because you can try to. So it's a pretty like standard like patio in that there's like 180 degrees worth of like railing, and then there's a 1.5-story, 2-story drop down to the ground. There are tables with tablecloths, and there's a single entrance and exit that leads into the kitchen and the interior part of the restaurant, and then the staircase that leads down to the ground floor. But that's on the other side from you. You're closer to the rail than you are to the restaurant.
Man, that was a lot. I think I'm gonna take the rail.
Yeah, you want to just try to go over and climb down?
Yeah.
Okay.
But all the while being like, man, I can't believe these Azorius are just gonna arrest anybody they don't like. That's crazy.
You're talking to yourself, but you're contributing. You feel like
100%.
no one can hear you, but that's okay.
Fantastic. I'm still drunk.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah, if you wanna just like make your way to the edge and go over.
Wait, so does Road to see you just like climb?
I don't know that. So like, yeah, let's cut down to Road and Winnegar as Tack begins
So pretty, Road.
climbing down the side. I don't imagine that Road and Winnegar are looking in that direction. Because you have your own thing going on, right? You guys are down in the street heading towards the precinct with Milos, right?
Road is not going. She does not want to be in the precinct.
Mm-hmm.
So she was dropping Winnegar off like a child at daycare.
Wait, I don't understand. Why aren't you coming with me?
I'm not. Listen, and I just pat Winnegar on the back and sort of like go to turn around.
Wait, listen. You said listen, but you're leaving. Wait, what? What are you doing?
I don't know if that's the best idea.
But I thought we were friends.
Oh, fine.
Oh, you're coming with? Great.
Yes.
Okay.
I think
cool.
Rhode's like big worry right now. She's really scared about seeing that woman who tried to arrest her once.
Yeah. The
But
unnamed, maybe Azorius, maybe Demir. We don't know what her deal is. The woman that was interrogating Wenzel in that cutscene. Yeah, she's dangerous.
So,
She's around somewhere.
yeah. So, but the friendship card was played, so I guess we're moving through it.
Yeah.
Right. So you
Friendship.
still feeling guilty about the whole Rourke thing. So
Yeah.
okay. All right.
I'm the only one apparently who feels guilty.
Somebody's got to. Someone's got to carry that burden.
Yeah.
So what's the plan? What are we doing in here?
Paying attention.
That's it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be me. You're gonna be you. We're just gonna pay attention. I don't get to wear a sweet mustache.
No, mustache is a go.
Okay, cool.
Bloop. He casts disguise self and it just like pops out.
Nice. Disguise self just to
So-
conjure mustache is a much higher level spell, but you can have an
Little knife.
illusory mustache if you want. That's okay too. Okay, all right. So Groucho Marx-esque disguise prepared. Winnegar and Rode enter the precinct behind your lawyer by proxy, Milos. Milos is an advocate of the Orzhov Syndicate, which he's currently explaining to the officer at the front desk. This seems to be a fairly rote procedure, right? You can tell that both the front desk guard and the advocates they've done this before, and there's a bit of a dance going on, right? Where the officer at the desk is putting up a little bit of resistance. The advocate is like, "This is my card. Here are my credentials. I'm here to see this person." They're like, "I don't know," and they're doing a thing, but it feels put on, right? But it passes. Their little dance ends. Now the two of you you have a chance in the opening of the thing to look around. Rode, are you keeping an eye out for this woman? Yeah. Okay.
Big time.
Okay.
Big
Can you
time.
make a perception check? And I'm gonna hold this number as your kind of general like on alert.
Okay.
Good.
I got advantage, right? Oh, no.
So this is the thing, Winnegar. Are you helping or are you distracted with your own stuff?
Well, what is she looking for? She's looking for
It sounds like a no to me on the help.
Just
Then
the
if you don't
area.
even know
Yeah.
what she's after, yeah.
Winnegar is just looking at he's trying to line up like spatially what he saw in the blueprints to
Right.
like where the most congested people are, like how the traffic is, because he knows the blueprints well, but he doesn't know the traffic flow of this place. So he's trying to figure out like where are people congregating, where are people staying, where are they standing, what's the best entry exit type stuff.
So
That's what
for reference, and I think y'all should be able to see the blueprints now. I brought you over to that
Yeah.
page.
Yeah.
You are right here. You've entered in up here. You're in the waiting area. There's a guy at the desk here, and it's like a big Loxodon officer, and they're talking to the advocate, and they're basically like, all right, well, who are these two? And the advocate turns to you, right? Because it's like, all right, well, you're the lawyer. Who the hell are these two? And I'm gonna make a deception check for your advocate here. I mean, I feel like this is probably a fair number. And the advocate says, "Oh, these two, they're my assistants." And the Loxodon like scratches its head and it's like, all right, well, you got an hour. Head in there, and we'll have somebody bring your client up. And the Loxodon points off to this side, like leans out and points at a door over here with a brass plate on it that says interviews.
Oh, that's perfect.
Cool. So we're not traveling very far, so they're going to get him.
Yeah, so they're gonna send a bailiff or whatever down into the cells under this floor, the holding cells. Get that person and bring him up to you.
Gotcha.
Won't find out where he is.
Yeah. So Winnegar is like formulating a plan. Like as soon as that happens, where he's going to well, we'll see how the interview goes, and then and then I'll say it, I guess, what he's going to be doing. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the advocate turns with a swoosh of his gray robes and looks at you like, follow me, and walks through the other waiting area, where we see probably like a kind of grimy looking a woman and a man. They're both half elves. They're obviously Gruul. They're both handcuffed to one of the waiting benches and to each other. And they seem to be right in the middle of like a lover's spat. They're arguing over whose fault it is that they got arrested. Yeah. And so you walk past them and over to the interviews door. Your advocate opens the door. You come into a smaller interior chamber, and there's another officer in here who opens the door to one of the interview rooms and says, just go on ahead and wait in there.
Cool. Thank you very much. Can we get any coffee? Where are we standing in like a tea coffee situation?
Earl Grey, please.
Damn. Make a persuasion check.
Okay.
You might get advantage.
Yeah, nice. 19. All right. So the officer kind of like gives you a look, and then the advocate kind of helps out with an arched eyebrow, like, well, go on. And this just junior officer is just like, see what I can do. And walks out, leaving you alone both in the interview room and in this outer room as well. So the advocate turns to the two of you, and says, my goal here is to find out how I'm going to get your friend out of Senate hands. Is there anything else? Any other agenda I need to be aware of? If you don't tell me, I can't be prepared. If I'm not prepared, I can't help you.
Not that we're aware of. We just want to help you do your best job and make sure that our dear friend Wenzel's all right.
Not that I'm aware of. Just,
Oh my god.
just say you do good. That's all we care about.
The advocate looks at you and squints, and he says, did you have that mustache yesterday?
What? This mustache? Oh, yeah. No. Yes, I did. I had this. Why am I on trial? You're the one who's on trial.
Objection.
Where's that tea and coffee? Oh no.
And
Winnegar is in an interview room, and he's
yeah. It's like a crowded, it's literally like a crowded interrogation room, right? Like there's a metal table that extends out of the wall, out of the stone wall. The room itself is lit by a single glowing like white globe above you, so casting very harsh light. There are some metal stools that are bolted to the floor. The advocate sits down on one side of the table. There's no room for anyone else to sit except across from him, so the two of you have to stand. And then on the table's surface there are hooks, like rings for like manacles. Yeah, it's only very, very barely one step up from a cell.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I imagine that Roach has like probably been in this room before because there was probably just like an amount of training that you had to do. And I'm sure interrogation training was like part of it. So
right, because you started your training with the Azorius and then bailed on them to join the Simic.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, probably you've been in a room like this before, doing like mock interviews with other cadets.
Yeah. It's terrible acting. Not as bad as the stuff that Whittaker just did, but pretty bad acting. So.
Okay. All right. So you sit and you wait as someone goes to retrieve your friend Wenzel. So meanwhile, back outside, Torgor, I think your arrest process has it has been slowed by the fact that there are other people at this brunch who are now like shouting at Triska, like, you let him go. He didn't do anything. And she's just like, this is a wanted man. I am a member of the Senate. And she's like flashing her badge around, like, get out of the way unless you want to join him in prison. And they're like, what are you going to do? There's only one of you. And like, there's all this like shouting, and she's pretty competent, but this isn't really her thing, right? She solves crimes. She doesn't really enforce the law. So I think she's a little off balance. Like, she'd really like to just get you the hell out of here, but I think she's waiting for backup, and she's just trying to get everybody to like back off for a second, calm down. The drones are all watching. More people who are better at arresting will come in here and they'll brute force you out of here. But you're kind of stuck on this balcony for the time being.
I take a moment to address my people. And Torgor's like, now here's the thing about Rakdos. We know that while maybe we born into the cycles we exist in, we ultimately choose whether or not to be a part of them. Triska's just doing their job, and unfortunately they got to make rent and adhere to the societal laws that are placed on them. Don't hold it against them. If y'all want, we could all walk there together. You can continue hearing my conversations, and I don't know, maybe it might change your mind by the time we get to the door. I want to like limit the number of other cops that are present as this like thrall of people are around.
Yeah. So there are currently Triska is alone. She's not in uniform, which I think reduces her authority in the situation. She's got her Azorius badge that she's flashing around, and most of the people here, they're also like, they're members of guilds that believe in law and order, right? This isn't a Rakdos nightclub. This isn't even like a Simic academic meeting. Like, most of these people are either members of the Senate themselves, or like you're playing to a hard audience. But your impassioned speech has kind of overwhelmed her sole authority in this situation, and she really can't do anything until more Azorius show up. Now, you won't necessarily be able to limit the number that arrive, but you can certainly prep the crowd to be on your side by the time they get here. And I think you're starting to notice the general unease isn't directed at Triska, but people keep looking at the ornithopters like scornfully, like they're that's what they're angry about, or they're like, that's the frustration here. Triska barely exists to them.
As like that notice happens, and now we're like outside of the brunch space in like a common area, like more like I'd imagine the like square in front of the actual cop place.
The staff of the restaurant were very eager to be like, all right, officer, we'd like to cooperate as much as we can, but could we cooperate with you outside? Can you please get out of here, please, before things go weird.
At that moment, while the thopters are all flying overhead, Torgor makes a comment like, Ravnicans should be able to govern themselves as we exist. We don't need these machine creatures, and like starts like going off on a rant about like the thopters, and like Rakdos lets you live the way you live, and only you are your judge of yourself. Well, and Rakdos, because that's the way it is. Just like going on this whole thing, and really just hitting the fact of like trying to fear monger now. Like before, it was like it's about like being relatable.
Well, and now you've got a Rakdos like. See, the thing is, you can't whip people up. It's hard for a member of the Rakdos, with the training that you have and the practice that you have, it's hard for you to whip people into a civic fervor, right? It's hard to get people to like care about stuff, but now you're seeing fear, and fear you can do. Fear you can handle. You know how to whip people into a mob, right? And that's the thing, because deep down, every person, and this is a fairly well-held belief in Rakdos and among the Gruul, deep down under the thin ice of civility, everybody would be a Rakdos if they could just give in, right? If they could just hear that voice in their blood. Everybody just wants to like light things on fire and stab each other. That's just
that purge nature.
That's right. Yeah, that's how people really are, and you're starting to see that the veneer wearing thin, and it seems to be directed at the Ornithopters.
I'm gonna like kind of use my background as an entertainer and using like popular demand to like really drive myself as like this empathetic character that it's like really like I get what you're going, like really like instantly kind of charm everyone's friends as friends. Waiting now like in the square, like before I was kind of leading Triska as we were going, now stopped centrally in the square.
I think you've attracted more than just the brunch crowd. Like there were people who were like, oh, thank God he's gone. Now we can continue our brunch. But once you get outside, more people who are just like around and they maybe heard shouting up on the patio. They're like, oh, what's going on? And they're like, people are gathering kind of to see what's happening. So you've got a bit of a larger crowd there, and you're able to try. So what do you want to do? How
I want to hold this crowd and like just like rise tension as I can until the moment I see the clowns.
Right.
And
okay.
then,
So you're buying time until
I'm buying time, and I want like basically till that moment to then do an athletics check on what can I almost like see how strong the cuffs are. Is it something?
Yeah. Let's make 2 rolls. So make a perception check first to like test the cuffs, test the bonds.
Sure. Let's go -2. Let's do this. Oh, 13.
13's pretty good. Your athletics check will be somewhere between 15 and 20 DC to break these handcuffs.
Okay.
You're not sure what, but it'll be somewhere in that range. But you're pretty strong. All right. Okay. And then so you pull on them a little. I think Triska like notices you doing that because she's got her hand on them, and she kind of gives you a shove, and she's like, "Come on, cut that out." And she's like looking around, and she
like,
can't.
They're not made for minotaurs. They're made for Vidalkas. Come on, they dig into the fur. Like,
and she cannot get you through this crowd alone. So she's forced to wait for backup. But if you want to maintain, because she's also noticing that you're kind of rallying the crowd up. So what we'll do is we'll have you roll. We'll do an opposed roll. You can roll performance. She's gonna roll intimidate, and you're both not working on each other, but on the crowd. If you win, they're gonna be like. One like plainclothes Azorius surrounded by drones doesn't represent not my Azorius, right? They're not gonna like let this fly until proper police arrive. In which case you're probably gonna get flipped to being the bad guy. And if she wins, her personal like aura of authority will be sufficient to like get them to back down, right? The badge is what counts, not the person behind it.
For sure.
So let's
do it. I'll roll first. I got a 20.
Yes.
All right. Yes, you did. Okay. All right. So let me find.
I'm glad I took that samurai.
This is terrifying though. So
performance. She is very terrifying.
I feel like she's just got advantage against you, Road, in these situations. She's only scary to you.
That's fair.
Okay. So let's see. I forget what I was using for her. Let's take a look. Here we go. Okay, we'll use veteran because she's an arrestor. All right. So chances are pretty good that you got this, Torgor, but
you never know.
Yeah, I think she needs a crit to be able to beat you. Let's see how it goes. Nope. No, they're just this is the like she probably a couple of times like she does have to be like stay back and like holds her badge out like back off unless you want to join him, and there are like people are not willing to jump in and save you or anything. This isn't there yet, but they're backed off. So
first I just want to say I really just wanted Triska to keep her job, and now I feel like I am like I'm glad her bosses.
You can't have a revolution without breaking a few eggs.
Yeah.
Okay, so while all this is going on, Tack, you have snuck down the side of the building. Where are you headed? What are you gonna do? Again, in the background, we see this little shadowy figure holding a champagne bottle skulk by.
Oh, 100%. Tack is ready. We're gonna go to the circus. We gotta pick up some murder clowns. This is gonna be great. It's gonna be a great time.
Yeah, no, I feel like there was a nearby area where you had arranged like
Oh
the
yeah,
murder
like a
clowns
rendezvous.
to be there.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know
Whatever
where to
the
go.
note says, Tack is going to like read it because, like, honestly, Tack has no interest in helping Torio sort out his weird message. But Tack does like a good riot.
Mhm.
And the way this crowd is going, all we gotta do is break a couple shop windows, and then it is.
Well,
woo,
yeah, and that's the thing with the Golgari, right? Is that like, yes, when you're alive, you're a Rakdos, you're a senator, you're whatever. But when you're dead, you're Golgari property, so it doesn't matter. You just wait long enough, and your bones belong to us.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's easy
like,
to ignore
honestly,
that kind of stuff.
Great.
Um,
Well, and not only that, it's like Torgo's grown ass man.
yeah, exactly. Okay, so
If he doesn't know what he's doing, he's gonna learn.
you head off towards the rendezvous site, and I think that you're traveling down an alley between a couple of buildings, and you hear in the distance the faint sounds of like badly tuned brass instruments being played.
No.
So you hear like a couple of notes, and then like stop, and then like a moment passes, and then a couple of like instruments start playing. Maybe you hear like a guitar, and then it stops, and you hear some talking, and you're heading in this direction. This is the way to meet with these clowns.
Cool. I don't know what's going on, but it feels pretty chaotic.
Yeah. So you now, do you want to approach? I guess, do you want to approach stealthily, or do you just want to like walk around the corner and be like, "Hey, boys"?
I don't know. Is Tack drunk enough to try to sneak up on some murderers?
That feels like a TK decision,
Yep.
and not an Adam decision.
Sure
so you
is.
just go ahead and tell me.
Yeah, Tack is definitely drunk enough to try and sneak up on some murderers.
Okay. All right. I will. You go ahead and roll. I'm going to grab the
I
cult,
sure
the cult
did.
of
Oh my
Rakdos.
God.
Sure rolled.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh.
Some people kill better drunk. Nat 20 plus 8.
I
Jesus.
don't
Oh
know
wow.
why-
Oh, that's. I'm not even going to bother rolling. Yeah, you
Why
definitely.
am I like this?
You definitely sneak up on them. So yeah, you come around the corner, and I think you were promised a half dozen murder clowns. I think that's what we have listed here. Yeah, a half dozen murder clowns at Torgor's disposal. So you come around the corner, and yeah, you see a group of 6. They look predominantly human. Maybe one of them's like a half elf, but you see 6. There's no question that they are Rakdos. They're all wearing black and white checkered suits. And several of them have trombones. One of them has a trumpet. One of them is holding like a weird looking guitar, and they seem like they're in the middle of practicing for something. And the only one that doesn't have an instrument is in the middle of yelling at the other ones. And they're like, no, it's on the offbeat. And you come around the corner and you see them, and this is where the murder clowns are waiting, and now you found them.
Yeah, I feel like Tack's definitely drunk enough to appreciate this music.
Yeah, you wanna listen in on their rehearsal.
Yeah.
Okay, they're terrible. They're really, really bad. They're trying, but they're god awful.
Yeah. They're Tack's their tiny one person mosh pit. I don't know. His comments of mosh
I feel like Tack is the kind of person that brings a switchblade to a mosh pit. Like at the end of the song, someone's lying on the ground and they're like bleeding out. And you're like,
It's like,
what
I
is?
thought this was. I thought we were trying to kill each other. Like,
Isn't this how it works?
I don't.
Yeah.
So, do y'all want to do a murder?
So you say that, and they startled you. We get the like comedic horn, like, and they stop and they all turn around, and the leader of the band like draws a knife in surprise.
Do a murder.
And
Yeah.
he squints. And how is Tack dressed right now?
Oh God.
I know it's hard to keep track of. There's so many costume changes.
It depends on when Tack last went to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
How long's it been since we went to the circus?
God only knows. Like a day, maybe 2 days, half a day. I don't. Time is a weird.
Okay, so we went
4
to
scenes ago.
we went to the circus, and then we dropped off the ornithopter at boyfriend's house.
That's right, Nerm's house. Yeah.
That's right. Dropped that off. Grabbed a handful of junk, but not any clothes. Haven't been back to my house in a little while. Still wearing the rhinestone outfit.
Okay. Perfect.
Yep.
Okay.
It
So
just Tack doesn't carry around extra clothes.
so the clown that turns around, and they're all, like I said, they're all dressed the same. He's this big lapel jacket and matching pants. Everything's black and white checkers. And he's got like kind of like a brush cut and then a jester's cap like on the back of his head with a little like dangling the bells, and he's got clown makeup. And he's currently holding a big like jagged Bowie knife kind of thing in his hand. He turns around and he points it at you more in surprise than in threat. Like it's just a response to you startling them because you're so sneaky.
I've drawn knives on people all the time. It's cool. You want some champagne? Also, super glad you're the right murderers.
And
You would not believe how many times I've made that mistake.
he says, he's like, who the hell are you?
Oh, I got a receipt.
Got a receipt. That's the best response to when someone says, "Who the hell are you?" I got a receipt.
I got a receipt here. You're trying to return some furniture. Like, the footstool really doesn't match.
in the wrong place. Someone's
Nah,
in the wrong
man.
place.
I rented y'all for the rest of the day. You're coming with me. I got a birthday party outside this brunch.
So you want to present your note from Torgor?
Yeah.
All right, make a persuade check.
Okay.
You have advantage from Torgor from your receipt.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's nice. Let's hope we don't screw this up. Y'all
Good rolls. Good rolls.
pray for me.
Ooh, double five.
Strong 5. Look,
Okay.
I had a champagne glass in there too. So if there's like mimosa on it, then you could just like a little dry.
So the clown takes a step forward and yanks the piece of paper out of your hand and looks at it. And behind one of the other clowns is like, "What does it say, Dickie?" And the clown looks at it.
Oh, it's Dickie Bear.
And the clown looks at it and he scowls and he's like, "Shut up, you." And he looks back at you and he's like, "I can't make sense of any of this." And he hands it back to you. And it is indeed like just like half mimosa soaked, and there's like a big sweaty thumbprint. You think it says something about pretzels? It's hard to tell.
I'm gonna lick it. There's no pretzels.
And he kind of like looms over you and he says, "Listen, we're waiting here for our friend, so scram."
Torgor sent me though.
How do you know Torgor?
I gave him a ring.
Kind of like he looks over his shoulder and the little one behind him's like, "I don't think Torgor's married, Dickie." And he looks at you and he's like, "You're gonna have to be more specific than that." And he kind of like brandishes the knife a little, like, unless you want to get stabbed.
He gave his dumb guitar to the creepy dude in the tent. And we have to break a guy out of jail, and I'm supposed to get some murder clowns, and I'm really tired.
So the little one's like, "Hey, Dickie, I think this is Tack." And Dickie's like, "Shut up, you." And turns back and looks at you. And he's like, "Yeah, all right, we heard about you."
Yeah.
And he says, "What happened to Torgor? Why isn't he
got
here?"
arrested.
Well, that changes things.
We gotta go throw a party where he's getting arrested and break some stuff.
Like nods and like, so they're right on the cusp now of like leaving, basically, of being like, "No, we agreed. We were here to help Torgor. We were going to cause some trouble for him. We don't know you. Like, we heard about you before from Torgor probably, but like, that's not the deal. So you're going to have to like offer them something else that they want, or like basically establish yourself as being like, I'm the boss now. Look at me."
Okay. I'd give you a thing if you help Torgor.
What kind of a thing?
A pew pew thing.
Let's see it.
Okay. And Tack's gonna pull out that gun that they took
Mhm.
from
Yeah, so as you take out the Is It device, it occurs to you that you now have another option. You could just light them all on fire right now. You could just shoot them with it. And that would also be a solution to this problem of them talking shit at you.
God, right.
Yeah.
And Tack's like saying this out loud, like,
If I killed all you though, Torgo would be like super mad. So, and you did say I had to bring some murder clowns, so then I have to
So
go
you
get
say that, and the big guy, Dickie, he's like, what the hell's your problem, Goblin? And then the little guy behind him is like, they ain't got no internal monologue, Dickie.
No.
And he's like, shut up, you, I'm talking. And he turns back and he's like, give me that thing.
No.
You said we could have it if we help Torgor.
You gotta help Torgo first. That's the rules. If I just give it to you, you just shoot me.
He smiles. Big smile's like, you're a smart one, Goblin.
Hey. Plus, I got this other thing from an Azorius. You can have it if you help Torgor and then don't shoot me.
And he's like just nodding, like, I like the way you negotiate. So here's the question: are you lying to this guy? Are you gonna give him the thing at the end, or is this all just bullshit?
I'm not lying yet. I've got time to change my mind.
I'm not lying yet. That's
Depends
good.
on like what kind of shape Torgor is in, and like if I can get away with lying in the future. But here in the moment now, Tack is being sincere,
Right. So you're being honest with the option to change your mind later.
which is unfortunate because I'm proficient in deception. But in this moment,
You'll have a
Tack
chance maybe later. Yeah.
being honest, like, yeah, no, I'll totally give you this pew pew thing and this blowy uppy thing.
It'll be great.
So yeah, so he looks down at it and he nods and he says, all right, well, fine. We came out here to put on a show, so we're gonna put on a show.
Yeah.
But you need to tell us where and what's the plan here.
Well, I didn't read the instructions before I gave them to you. So I think we gotta like kill a bunch of cops.
There's a lot of smiling and nodding, like, yeah, of course, that sounds great, but could you be more specific? And I think that probably rather than have you like explain the plan in the moment, we like crossfade away from there, and you can basically implement them as if you had made up as much of a plan as Tech would have made up, and then you can just tell me what is happening later. So you let me know when you wanna spring the murder clowns and what they do. So, meanwhile, Rode, Winiger, and the lawyer Milosh, you are in this interview room, and before you have paper cups with not very good coffee in them, and I think it's been a few minutes, and you're starting to think maybe you're getting the runaround, right? That they've just put you in here to ignore you. And kind of like right when that tension starts to boil over, and you're starting to think like maybe I should say something. You hear the sound of keys, and then the door opens, and you see a non-distinct member of the Azoria Senate bringing in Wenzel. Now you haven't seen Wenzel in a while. It's been a couple of days. Wenzel's been in the Senate's hands. And you see him. He's wearing an Azoria Senate, like a prisoner's jumpsuit. It's like a dark blue. He's got manacles on his wrists and his ankles, and so he's doing that kind of like downtrodden shuffle. His hair is greasy and like hanging down around his face. He's got several days of stubble, and above and beyond all of that, you just see this like hollow look in his eyes. Like he doesn't make eye contact. He doesn't really look around. He just kind of stares at the floor as he's being like shuffled in. And the guard puts a hand on his shoulder and sort of pushes him down onto the metal seat, and clips his wrists to the iron ring on the table. And he looks at the guard looks over at the advocate and says, "You got 10 minutes," and walks out.
As soon as Wenzel gets into my view,
Yeah.
I want to cast message
and send him a message real quick and be like, hey buddy, real big shock. You're going to be totally shocked as soon as you sit down. I need you to keep your head down like you're doing. Oh yeah, you're doing perfect right here. Just completely pay attention and tell me that they're abusing you or something. Okay. Also, this is totally going to hurt after you sit down.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna make a saving throw to see if Wenzel's brain is capable of processing all of that information. Let's see how he does. Okay. All right. So there is a shift in his like attitude, right? You see him kind of blink, and he's still confused. He seems like he's drugged or something. But he gets a slightly more like attentive look on his face, and he kind of like looks up like, wait, what? I'm not just being shuffled from one room to another. Who are these people? I recognize that voice. And then he sits down.
So what I want to do as Whittaker is basically prove that they're abusing him or torturing him, or his conditions are really bad, and we demand to see his cell. That would be the one way we can get in there, I think. But it also takes Wenzel cooperating with that story, like corroborating it.
Yeah. So seeing if he's capable. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, and the idea here is to convince the advocist to push on that as your agenda. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Because right now he's well, I don't know the law in Ravnica, but I would assume he's innocent until he sees a judge. There's been a jury, so they can't like treat him like a prisoner or torture him or anything. Like there's been no sentence on him. So yeah, that would be my thing.
Yeah, the law in Ravnica is it's a moving target, right? It changes pretty regular. It's more around like trade law and like interrupting profits. And I think you just get judged. I think a senator just like decides if you are. They have like senators who are magically empowered to just make lawful decisions. Big decisions are made by like sphinxes who are supposed to be like paragons of law, and they are not biologically capable of being wrong about the law, which,
oh wow,
right.
Yeah.
Huge eye roll there. But I think the fact like someone will decide whether or not he is doomed. And then it depends on how influential he is, which is why it's important to have an Orzhov lawyer, because they're really influential and they have a lot of money to throw around. So it's maybe not as egalitarian as we would like to think. And I don't think there's a jury. Yeah. I think it's just judgment by a judge. But he hasn't seen one yet.
So. Gotcha.
Yeah, he's just been interrogated. He sits down and Milosh introduces himself. Right? He says, I'm an advocate. I'm working on behalf of a patron of yours. We'd like to get you out of this prison. Would you like that? And he kind of mumbles, like Wenzel mumbles and like nods and just stares blankly at the table.
I'm going to send another message that says like, you're doing good, buddy. Yeah, just like that. And then explain how they hurt you, how they chain you up. And that's why you got those bruises on your wrists.
Make a persuasion check.
Okay. And then I'm going to cast something to put bruises on his wrist.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. So he
19.
he looks up and not at the advocates, not at Rode, but at Winnegar, and he squints and he's like, I know you from somewhere. Why do I recognize you?
I mean, I just have one of those faces.
You look like Scruffy the janitor, but blue.
Yeah, man. It looks like you're in bad shape. Are they messing with you there? Or are they beating you? How are they treating you here?
And in the dark most of the time. That woman, she asks me things, And the advocate turns to you, Riker, and is like, puts his hand up, like, stop distracting him. We have important paperwork to fill out. And he turns back and he's like, Mr. Ironclad, I have a few simple questions for you about the conditions of your release, your treatment at the hands of the Senate, the crimes you've been accused of. It says here, and he takes out his paperwork and he pulls out paper, you're accused of murdering several Azoria Senate officers. Did you do it? Mr. Ironclad, you have to be accurate with me about these things. You can tell me. It doesn't matter if you did or you didn't. I just need to be equipped to be able to get you out. And he shakes his head. He's like, I never murdered anybody. They didn't even ask me any questions about that. It just kept asking about my brother. I don't understand. Why am I in here? And the more lucid he gets, the more he seems, you can see him starting to panic a little bit. He's like pulling on his chains a bit and like trying to stand. And the advocate, without really even looking, is just kind of like, all right, calm down, Mr. Ironclad. And he's like making notes. But Wenzel keeps looking at you like you're connected to this. Like, you got to help me. Or like, maybe he thinks it's your fault he's here. He's very confused. But he's also very open to suggestions. So if you give him a little push, he would probably be willing to tell whatever story you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna message him again. That's it, buddy. You're doing it. Now you got to bring it all home, okay? You got to like, and like Winnegar doesn't understand, like, this guy's real. Like, they actually are torturing him.
Yeah. No, he doesn't have any physical evidence of having been like beaten. Like, he doesn't have a black eye or anything, but there's clearly something going on upstairs that is not quite right for Wenzel.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I want to tell him tell him all the bad stuff that they're doing to you, like what they're doing to your arms. And then I want to cast Mage Hand to like bruise up his arms.
Oh my God.
If he agrees to it, could he do it? Like, I know you can't attack with Mage Hand, but if he agrees to being hurt, is that the same?
Mage Hand just isn't strong enough to really hurt someone. It's like a very, very low force application. Like, it's pounds per square inch is not hard enough to bruise. You could shocking grasp him though if you wanted, or
I'll
you
shocking grasp him.
Touch him.
Yeah, you could electrocute him. That would be certainly possible.
Yeah.
How does shocking grasp work?
You touch him. I think probably you could transmit it through the table if you wanted.
Okay. Could I do it from my foot? Like,
I think you have to. Does it specify your hand? I don't know if you could shocking grasp kick someone. Let's find out.
Let's see.
Shocking grasp. From your hand. Lightning springs from your hand to deliver a shock to a creature you try to touch.
Gotcha. That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
Shocking grasp him. Poor Wenzel.
Poor Wenzel. All right, so he has armor class 10 and he's attached to a table. He's moving around a little, but make a make a roll. You can roll your regular. Oh yeah, no problem. You shock and grasp him. Roll damage.
You poor man.
8.
Oh no!
Oh my God.
Oh dear. Oh boy. Okay. Well, let's see how many hit points he might have, because you might just put him in a cardiac arrest here. Let's see. NPCs by guild.
This is going well.
It's going great. Yeah. Okay. He's a chemister, so let's take a look. Let's see how
He does work with lightning a lot.
He does. It's true. He probably has gear that would protect him from this, but he's not wearing it.
He's had it, yeah.
I tried, Carly.
Okay, all right. He's got a decent. I will give him half his hit points because he's already spent a bunch of time in prison. So let's roll. Let's see how fragile he is.
Probably has resistance.
I'll roll for his total, and then we'll figure out what his what half of that is. So let's see. All right. This is Wenzel's total hit points, so he has half of this. Not bad. Wenzel's pretty tough.
Okay.
All right. So he has 20 odd hit points, 22 or whatever. You deal him 8 damage. He shouts in pain and surprise. And he tries to pull away, and he yanks on the manacles. You hear one of his wrists like dislocate. and the room smells slightly of like burnt flesh and ozone. And he just starts shouting, and the Advocate gets up and he's like, Mr. Ironclad, please calm down. And like things you can hear outside, like,
okay, can I good cop? Can I try to good cop?
Yeah, totally, Red. What do you want to do?
Dear God. I want to like come over, and I want to actually like touch him on the shoulder.
Mhm.
Like someone who has been like in darkness, in sensory deprivation, like even just like that sort of like calming, like a really reaffirming, like, hey, and Rose says like, I know you're innocent. We're trying to get you out. Like, just the most calming shit that she can muster.
Okay. Yeah. You can make a persuasion check to try to calm down. What do you want him to do? He's like panicking, and he's just been electrocuted, and he doesn't know what the hell is going on. He's very pliant, right? This is the part where if Winnegar you want to push, you can just tell him like, this is what you need to say. Yeah. Advocates, write this shit down, right? Road, you can also kind of take over and like calm down. What do you want to get out of him? What do you want him to do here? Like, if you succeed this roll, what do you get?
Truthfully, I just want to like wake him up. Like, I know that that's kind of weird to say, but I want him back to center.
You want to wake him up, like inside, like in the sense that like he's like having a panic attack
because
he doesn't kind of like have his
can't wake up inside.
All right, guys, well, this has been a really good show.
Listen, I was just trying to use a reference that you might understand, Katie. Went from your generation. I was trying to play to the kids.
Thank you. But just like bring him back to center. Like give him like
get past whatever the hell's been going on with him.
This is actually maybe my only chance to live. Like that kind of like, oh.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, do it.
I'm gonna use my inspiration right now.
Good call.
Great, because I just have a 0 in persuasion.
Okay.
God be with us.
13. Okay, I'll roll to see, because you want to get a combination of electroshock therapy and then talking to him, trying to calm him down, to get him like to get him to surface right from all of this like weird whatever's been going on. Okay, yeah, no problem. You snap him out of it. And he like pulls away, and then you walk over and like, calm down. It's fine. Just like shut up for a second. Just relax. And he sits down, and he's like taking these deep gulping breaths. He slows down a little, and you hear the door open, and one of the arresters like sticks his head in. He's like, looks around. Everything all right in here?
We're doing our jobs. And
he says, whoa, okay, fine. Like backs off, like lets the door close. Wenzel seems to have like calmed down a little bit, and he's just like sitting there like trembling a little at the table. And he looks at you, Rode, and says, I don't understand what I'm doing here. I told that woman everything that she asked me, but it was never enough, and they just kept me in the dark. I don't.
What was she asking you, Wenzel?
He looks up at you, and you can see him trying to remember, and you see a faint like blue like flicker like pass over his eyes, and he's like, I can't remember.
I described the woman that attacked me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, is that what she looked like?
I don't know. There's holes. I remember being brought in and being in the dark and questions and them asking and he's just looking at you helplessly like, what the fuck is going on?
It's okay. We're going to get you out, and then you won't have to worry about it for another second. If you do remember things, tell us. But I understand that you don't.
And while you're having this conversation, the Advocate is just making notes. Like you can see him being like figuring out a plan to use this. Everything that everybody is saying is going to like help him get this guy out of here.
And I turn to the Advocates and I say, is sensory deprivation something that this guild typically uses on people who have not been yet made guilty?
And he smiles, this like, oh honey, you don't understand anything, like smile at you, and he shrugs and he says, the Senate has many tools at their disposal.
Is there a place that
Road
we?
feels nauseous. Oh,
Yeah, fair.
I want to turn to the advocates and kind of say, like, okay, it's obvious that this guy's life is in danger if he stays here. Is there any place we can get him moved, a safer place?
We're lucky he hasn't been moved to New Prav already. And he looks at the prisoner and he says, I suppose we could petition for house arrest, or murdering a Senate officer is a very serious accusation. If he's been brought this far, it's going to be difficult. He says, if we had someone else to put here in his place, someone we could offer up as the real criminal, the Senate would have their guilty and your friend would be allowed to go. I can, if you wish, provide the service that we require. The syndicate has a number of people whose debts are sufficient to pay for this man's freedom. It's going to be expensive.
Contract's already been signed.
He shakes his head. He says, well, we can always amend it, can't we? Torgor, no.
We can null and void it. Let's do that.
So what he's offering here is like, listen, they don't care what he thinks. So he doesn't know any of the conspiratorial subtext, right? So what he thinks is the Senate just wants to bust somebody for murdering a bunch of people, right? This is revenge for them. It's not a public thing. They're not like, we have to get this serial killer off the streets. This isn't Massacre Girl we're talking about. This is just like, we want somebody to blame for this thing. And your advocate is saying, listen, the syndicate has a bunch of people who are basically its indentured servants. Their life belongs to us. We could just give one of them to the Senate instead. And then the Senate could do whatever they want with this person because their life is already forfeit. And then you could have your friend back, right? That's the offer on the table here from him. But yes, the cost would be higher.
Road kind of rolls her eyes and is like, Milos, this is obviously Ironclad's brother. There's obviously political machinations going on here. Do you think that would be a solution that would come easy to you?
Anything's easy with enough gold.
I look at Winnegar with sort of like a look.
I want to send a message to Road.
Okay.
I like Winnegar's secret cell phone text message network. It's good.
I can't think of anyone that I would send to this guy. The only automatically, you know who I originally thought would be great to offer up? What's this guy? He was the first person I thought of that I wanted to give up. I was just like, oh yeah, you could have this dick, and I was like, oh wait, it's the same guy. So I don't know exactly what to do here.
Road
seems like
he wishes that there was a mute button.
Well, I mean, you can be like, listen, we have to have a conversation. Excuse me, you can step out of the room, right?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Into the police.
I mean, it's fine. So if you want to talk without the advocacy, you can go out into the other room. I don't think that there's a cop on duty just to stand there and hang out.
Yeah.
If there's a problem, someone will come running. So you walk out into that larger chamber that connects all the interview rooms, And the advocate will just stay and talk to your guy. He's like, oh, good. Now that they're gone, I can actually get my job done. And so he's like, all right, when were you arrested? What has it been like since you were here? Tell me about yourself, right? So that the advocate starts actually interviewing him. The two of you step out into the other room. And so while all this is going on, Tack, you just let me know when it's murder clown time.
Murder clown time begins now.
Yeah. So okay. So describe for me the distraction that you and the murder clowns.
I had to put thought into it. I'm just kidding. No. So Tack, on the one hand, is like, I guess we should do this to save Torgor from getting arrested, but it's also like Torgor, grown ass man.
Mm-hmm.
Let's stick with the original plan.
Torgor's pretty fully in charge of that situation.
Yeah. So
wasn't it all like the same location? It's all within like
It's-
100 feet of each other.
It's across the like there's a courtyard and you could see it from the brunch place. So you're down on the ground now. So you could, if you were standing at the front of the Azorius facility, you could see a crowd kind of gathering over there, but you wouldn't be able to make out what anyone is saying or doing.
yeah. So Tack is going to have them go out and specifically target the outside of that building, the precinct building.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so this is going to be not super great. So I know that they've got, first of all, their band going on. So it starts out with the performance that gets.
So it's fair to assume that they have at their disposal loud noises, fire, sharp pointy objects, screaming. Like they're good at making a scene and hurting people, but they're not great at like demolitions necessarily.
No, that's fine. I've got all the demolition I need. It's okay. I don't need them.
Okay. Yeah.
Because like my main thing is like, how much fuel is in this pew pew thing? Can I use it until there's no fuel and then give it to him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, certainly.
So I would like for them to at least get a crowd going, listening to their incredibly terrible music. If it's good, it's a crowd of civilians, but if it's bad, maybe people will call the cops on them. Who knows?
Yeah, these guys aren't really here to like entertain. They're here to like cause problems and hurt people and light shit on fire.
I need a concentration of cops to get within range of my pew pew.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So once a group of them shows up, I'd like to emerge from a trash can and just light them up.
Okay. All right. So we cut back to the outside where Torgor is sort of near the opposite side, and there's a group of maybe 20 or 30 people that have gathered around you, and the Triska is waiting for backup, which we cut over to the building, and we see a group of 4 arresters in like that white kind of ceramic armor with helmets and batons. They walk out, and there's a group of they have their gear on. They're ready to go and do some stuff. So we see them at one end of the pavilion, kind of the open area. We see them walking out of the arrestor station, heading towards the scene that Torgor has. And then there's like the empty kind of plaza in the middle with people coming and going. There's maybe like a fountain or something there. Where do the murder clowns strike? Do they just like go after these cops and like light a cop on fire, or do they stab a random person? And then when there's people start screaming, they start stabbing more people? Like what? Because that's their thing, is just bloodshed and violence.
Tack is neutral evil, not chaotic evil. So Tack tells them do what they think is best. Have fun, guys.
Yeah. Okay. So probably they set up to like busk or whatever, and they're like doing a little sound check, and the cops are walking across. A small group of people are like, oh hey, like a band, they're gonna play. That's cool. They're out in the public square. They don't have their permits. We'll get to that. But they start setting up, and one of the clowns takes a drink. It looks like just like a drink out of a bottle, and lifts the trombone up to their lips, and then a gout of fire shoots out of the end of the trombone, and he just just starts like roasting the people that are standing around to watch them. So the crowd immediately, like 2 or 3 people just burst into flame and start screaming. Someone like runs off screen and then people start to scatter and the other clowns draw knives and just like fall on them as people try to run away. So there's fire, there's screaming, there's terrible ska music, there's the blaring of horns. And this defers the Azorius from their original intent to go and get prisoner Torgor to now going to fight these clowns. So they like run towards that scene and panic ensues, right? People start screaming and running around, and back in the building, in the Azorius building, it is clear to anyone inside that like shit is going on. You can hear maybe like an alarm goes off. There's like a pulsing alarm. You can hear through the walls of the interview room, and the everybody that's stationed here is going to go outside. There's like a Rakdos incident in the square. And so, yeah, they rush out to go do that. So it's chaos in the police station, chaos outside. Torgor, your crowd begins, like they start dissipating as soon as they realize like, oh shit, like people are getting stabbed. There are a bunch of murder clowns going bananas. And so they run, they start to flee. And so Tack, where are you? I want before we go to break, I want like a shot of Tack amidst all this chaos. What do we see you doing? Where are you?
So Tack has no idea where Rode and Winnegar are. They know that they were planning to go into the precinct. Beyond that, they don't know where in the precinct they are. And so it's like, well, there's a prisoner in there. There are 2 people in this conspiracy in there. I should probably go in there, right? I should probably go ahead and get this prisoner guy out, right? And so Tack has, if there was like an open window or an air vent.
I mean, yeah, there's the front door, right? All the cops are going out into the chaos. You could slip in pretty easily.
Love to slip in.
Yeah. Okay. So we see you this time. Tack is in the foreground, and all of the black and white brass instrument checkered fire blood chaos is behind you, blurred out as you just like walk on up to the Senate. Cool. All right. So we'll see if you can sneak in unnoticed. Torgor, I feel like this is going to be one of those like situations where the cop is like, get down, come on, and like try to like get you to safety. Like she's going to protect the hostage or whatever here. So there's a lot going on in Precinct 1. We'll find out how it goes in just a bit.
Precinct 13.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.